This is Christina Barton. You're watching Black Tea News. Hello. Welcome to Black Tea News. I'm your host, Christina Barr, and today we're going to be talking about a friend of mine who shot down a trans-identified male trans woman who came at her over this video that I'll show you, but sometimes they'll try to go when women say things they don't like, and there's other women who will go this route too. People have said this about me. They'll come for your looks and say something like, oh well, this trans woman looks better than you or something, and Savvy just had the best response. She doesn't need me to stand up for her, she doesn't need me to brag on her, but this was fire and I just wanted to share. I'm gonna share. It's gonna be the first thing I talk about after intros and so on. So I just have to share because she had a drop the mic moment. So also want to address that there's been a special counsel appointed to the Hunter Biden case. However, it's someone who already worked on the Hunter Biden case, and promoting them to special counsel, I don't think is going to get the, I would assume isn't going to get proper results, since they allowed sort of all this to happen as far as a sweetheart deal, etc. They're also like shopping around different venues because apparently they don't want another judge to catch their immunity type deals. There's so much evidence and things that they've looked at. I don't know exactly why at this point they need the same people to do a special counsel thing, unless they just want to prolong it kind of basically forever and or allow someone to basically give the same results that they've given before. So it stinks to the high heaven. Also, apparently we traded a couple of hostages with Iran for $6 billion, and they didn't even release them. They're still on house arrest. So not a great plan, as Tony Stark would say in the Iron Man, what was that, Avengers, he said that, not a great plan. It just, I don't know, kind of seems like it incentivizes countries to kidnap more Americans. So not a great administration for many reasons. But we'll get to the geopolitical things later. We got some good tea I want to talk about. Anyway, before we jump into it, I want to encourage you guys to go to blacktenews.com, check out different content on my website, different articles, different videos, etc. If you like what I do here, please consider leaving a donation at blacktenews.com/donate. It costs a stream, costs from my website, all that stuff. So if you can support, God bless you, very much appreciate it. If you would like to give stars on Facebook, you can. Also, you can do super chats on YouTube. So thank you to people who participate in that kind of way. And thank you for watching live. Thank you guys for watching back later. Also, check out different merch at the store, like the I'm Not the Victim You're Looking For. We got the Be Better Not Bitter. We got the Trump hoodie thing, whether it's goat hoodie, goat t-shirts you guys can get. I reposted an old video that I had where I was wearing this hoodie, and people were like, oh my gosh, we're gonna get the hoodie, and I kind of forgot that I had the hoodie on. I did totally wear the hoodie originally in the video because I thought it would do pretty well, and I wanted people to ask it and go buy the hoodie. So it's available at blacktenews.com. Also, you guys can check out different books that I have, like my book, of course, God is Blatantly Against Abortion. It's available on Amazon and also Barnes & Noble. Check out other books I've written. I have 2 nonfiction books and the rest are fiction. So if you need something to do over this weekend, please pick up one of my many books that I have. And I just want to say, I had a post that I wrote the other day, and I also posted an article with this, basically the same post. So if you read it, on Facebook or YouTube or whatever, I did also post it online on Black Tea News. So if you want to share it around, that's a good way to do it. But someone in my comments said, I'm not reading all that. and then they proceeded to write their own comments. So that was annoying. I'm like, how can you say you're not going to read all the posts that I wrote and then proceed to write comments? And then I replied to them. They replied to me. And then they're like writing mini essays within like the comments and stuff too. And they're going back and forth with me, and they're going back and forth with other people. And so someone had talked to me within that thread about that person. I said, I'm thinking about blocking them because it's pretty rude. It was pretty rude. And so they ended up replying to another comment that I had. And then they also said, like, if you want to block me, it's your prerogative, but I want to have good faith conversations. And I'm like, how, like, despite my bluntness, I'm just thinking to myself, like, and I said I wouldn't reply to them again. If I say I'm not going to reply to you again, I really try to keep my word. So there are other things that they said that I kind of wanted to address, but I'm like, once I say I'm not going to reply, I don't plan to reply. I don't want to break my word that way. When people are like, that's it, have or whatever, and they act like they're going to walk away from conversation, I think it's a total punk move when you come back. Like, you got to just walk away, you got to block them or whatever. So I ended up just going ahead and blocking them. And there's a difference between being blunt, which I can be pretty blunt sometimes, and there's a difference between being blunt and being like just absolutely rude. So I don't think it's a good faith conversation when you see a post and you decide to not, it's bad enough you decide to not read it and then still engage. But then you were bold enough to like say like, hey, I'm not reading all this, but so and that's one reason why I think you got to pick and choose when you engage with people on the internet, because not everybody's going to read your big long comments and whatever, all the stuff that you write. Like one time my sister was going back and forth with somebody, and it's my youngest sister, and she was really annoyed by the well, she researched all this stuff for her answer to this person, and then she put it in the comments, and they're just like, I'm not reading all that. And she looked it up, and it's just some kid. And so that's one of the many reasons when I used to when I was first on Facebook, I would argue all the time, like all day long. People would at me like, can you argue with this person? And people still try to do that, but I'm just like, I'm not. You go fight your own battles. Maybe like occasionally a time or two, but I'm not about to spend all my day arguing with people, because you don't know what kind of person you're arguing with on the other side. Like they can be someone totally bad faith. They can be someone who's just trolling you. They can be someone who's mentally ill and is never going to connect all the dots. Or they can be someone who's just never going to read your reply. And so if I write a long post, no one is entitled to have to read that. You don't have to read. I don't expect everybody to read. I'm always a little surprised on YouTube or whatever when people read those long posts, but they get good traction. I have good conversations with people. So, I post them. But one reason why they're long, particularly like on a subject like abortion or something, is because I've had a lot of these conversations. And I don't want to keep having the same ones over and over and over again. But people are different, and you have different conversations with people, and things are repetitive. So I've accepted that some conversations and some things I'm going to have to repeat. Like one of the reasons why I wrote my book is because I'm sick of having to repeat a lot of the same things. So I've like compiled a lot of thoughts, and they're in a book. So so if I write a long post and it's on a particular subject, it's long because I'm anticipating what 20 other people are going to say in the replies, and I don't want to have to reply to each one. So I want to address your objection proactively. So that's why the post is long. So when you say something like, I'm not going to read the whole thing, I don't take that as good faith. I didn't type it because I had nothing better to do. I promise you, I've got a lot of things to do, but I thought it was worth my time. So if you want to engage in good faith conversation, engage in good faith conversation. If you don't want to have a conversation with someone, if you don't want to put that full effort, there's a lot of videos like on TikTok or whatever that seem interesting, and maybe I'll like it, but I don't feel like spending like 3-4 minutes or whatever on that video. I'm like, maybe I'll come back to it later. I'll like it to archive it or whatever and come back later. Or but I don't comment on something unless I see it. I don't understand that. So I just wanted to rant a little bit to do like a PSA that you don't have to engage if you don't want to. There's no obligation. We're strangers on the internet, but don't pull that like crap. And then another thing is I saw them calling someone pro-birthers, and I'm like, oh gosh, I hate when people say dumb stuff like that, because one is it's a I suppose a derogatory kind of term, but that doesn't even make sense when you look at the ethics of pro-life people. Like someone says you're just pro-birth. I'm like, no, I don't think you should probably be having kids. No, you strike me as someone who's not going to be a good parent. Like you're not married. No, I don't think you should be. No, I'm not for you like having kids right now. No, absolutely not. I just don't think that if you make them, you should kill them. That's the position. That's the position. Plus, abortion is forced birth to a dead baby. So it doesn't make sense anyway. And I've made posts like that too. And so there's a lot of people who write to me who disagree, and that's fine. I like good engagement. I don't like having repeat things bazillion times though. But if anyone wonders why that person's blocked, sorry for the little rant. Let's move on. Let's move on. I don't want to delay the tea. So a friend of mine, This is Savvy, I've had her on the show before, for when we've discussed, like, I gotta go back to doing the TikTok reacts things. But she was on recently talking about the Florida curriculum. So if you haven't seen that episode, you can go and watch that interview with me and Savvy. It was a really good discussion. And I think it was about like maybe an hour and 40 minutes long. But we just reacted to what is a curriculum, what were people saying about it, the Black Republicans, people for it, against it, etc. And so Savvy posted a response, engaged with this trans woman named Kelly. Now, Kelly got a lot of traction, especially on the right. I don't remember what popped it off, but Kelly at one point decided to come out against the really crazy stuff on the left as far as like gender ideology. And Kelly transitioned as a minor and started saying stuff like, I don't think minors should be doing that. What if I didn't like what happened to me or whatever. So Kelly got a lot of play, but I didn't fall for Kelly because I recalled Kelly saying that essentially something like that women were jealous of his fake vagina. So this person's sketchy to me. I'm not just going to jump on a train. So Kelly started this days of like, this is my first day of being on the right. This is my second day of being on the right, similar to Dylan Mulvaney's thing of like first day of girlhood, etc. So I don't recall Kelly having any positions that were pretty much on the right, other than echoing some of the opinions of like anti laws against like kids and other stuff like that. So I don't remember like Kelly doing videos on fiscal policy and abortion, and maybe Kelly did, but maybe I missed it. But so I just want to put in that little caveat. So then eventually Kelly reverted back, I guess, because nothing that Kelly did would make I guess a majority of the people on the right see Kelly as a woman. So Kelly says, I'm a biological man, but I'm a woman. And trans women are women. They're a type of woman. And that's what Kelly sticks to. And Kelly's like, how dare you say can't celebrate Mother's Day? And people are like, you can celebrate Mother's Day, but we're not going to consider you mother. And Kelly couldn't take that. And Kelly even like embraced this pick me Barbie thing. Like that was on Kelly's like profile and stuff. And then Kelly kind of had a moment, and Kelly was like, I thought I was going to be like the next Candace Owens. And I think I have that video saved on my phone. I'm pretty sure Kelly took it down at least on TikTok. But I think I have it somewhere saved on my phone. But Kelly was just like, I thought I was gonna be the next Candace Owens, etc. So in other words, Kelly thought that Kelly could say the right things and be picked up by the Daily Wire and kind of be like Bruce / Caitlyn is on Fox and like the token trans person. So Kelly is so anti-TERF and said stuff like TERFs are dangerous and shouldn't be in our bathrooms, and TERFs can use the TERFs only bathroom. A TERF is a trans exclusionary radical feminist. which people have called me a TERF. I'm not a TERF. I don't consider myself a feminist. Some people who started following me got really mad when I said that. I was like, I'm not a feminist. I don't identify as a feminist. Um, but you can search through like Kelly's Twitter and like the advanced filter and look at some of the stuff that Kelly has said about TERF. So anyway, just a little background there, as far as um Kelly and Kelly's thinking, and how people came pretty familiar with Kelly and stuff. So there was a tweet, I guess this kind of set this off some time ago, that where Savvy replied to a tweet that Kelly made. And actually, I think I was going to go find it on Twitter. I'm not sure if I can, but I did actually pull it up so I could screenshot it for you guys. Give me 1 second. I forgot to upload it. But this is like similar language that Kelly says quite a bit about, because Kelly had the surgery, for the lady bits, the fake lady bits. So it's not surprising TERFs hate on trans women who undergo vaginoplasty. Plenty of women hate on those who choose to get implants out of jealousy. It's no wonder they hate on someone who's had their vagina perfectly crafted by a top of the line surgery. Jealousy seems inevitable. So this is delusional. Really delusional. Gosh, it's so delusional. So I don't understand this. Like, why would people be jealous that you'd have to spend so much money to have something that's uh, Kelly doesn't like this term, like a wound. Like, why would it's not a real vajayjay, right? So um people out here need medical things and can't afford them. um so why would women just be so jealous that you paid a bunch of money to have a fake it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I have glasses somewhere. You probably like, I haven't seen you wear glasses. You have not seen me wear them in a while because they're lost somewhere and a little broken. And I need them updated. Glasses are pretty expensive though. So you know, why would someone be jealous of you paying to have something that we naturally have? So it's you're trying really hard. I guess it's just projection at that point. So Savvy made a reply to that. So let me read you this reply. So I'm sure they're aware of each other prior to this, and I don't know if this is what set off Kelly eventually wanting to get to the point where we're going to show. Um, but it probably triggered for sure. So Sav said it should be required by all males seeking SRS to take and pass a female anatomy class. For someone who wants to be a woman, you are so uneducated. You don't know anything about women. But you hate us and desire our approval. At the same time, I've never given thought to whether or not I'll just keep saying vajayjay. I don't know if eventually I get flagged, is pretty, but I do know it's low maintenance. You have to put in a lot of work to keep it useful. Unless there's a medical issue, we don't have to do anything. You have to douche, dilate, and some of y'all pluck hairs. Your vajayjay has no purpose outside of sex and no real function. Our vajayjay is part of a system that's designed to bring life into the world. You don't have that system. Your body couldn't handle that system. I understand you're doing this for clicks, but you should probably stop before you really get your feelings hurt. So that was a great post there. and true, very true. It's not just an aesthetic thing, and a lot of people just, I don't know, are so into the aesthetic. So actually, I got my timetable a little wrong. So that post was after this one. So this is actually like the drama here. So Savvy retweeted this video of this dude who is with a trans woman and is so trying to convince you that he's not gay. And so Savvy's post is like, who's he trying to convince, us or himself? So let me go ahead and share this video with y'all.
5 things I wish I would have known before dating a trans woman. Number one, this girl is every bit of a woman, and then some. Think of her as that Happy Meal with the extra special toy that you haven't played with yet. Number two, you say, hey Adam, I've already got that toy to play with myself. Why would we need a second toy to play with at the same time? Did we need a second Ace Ventura Pet Detective movie? Did the Chappelle Show need a second season? Did we really need to clone Kanye West to make a second? Wait, that's a bad example. But moral of the story is, good things come in twos. Number three, you ever have one of those nights where you want to have a little bit of fun, but your schlonga chimichanga doesn't want to show up to the big game? Well, who better to understand than a woman who has dealt with those same complications? So now when she says, oh, it's okay, babe, it looks cute, you know she's coming from a place of empathy and not pity. Number four, no, this does not make you gay. Listen, this is a little bit different than those sleepovers you and your bros used to have when you were younger. That was a little gay. Being with a woman of any kind means every part of her is feminine. And while I can't fully explain it, that feminine energy is the hottest thing in the world. You'll figure everything else out later. Number five, this is a woman, and a very powerful woman that's been through a lot to work towards the body and image that she identifies as. So if you want a conversation with sustenance, and not just a conversation about the avocado toast she had earlier, spend some time with a trans woman and you'll meet one of the most beautiful women you've ever met. So follow me for more dating advice with some of the most beautiful women in the world.
So I guess a lot could be said about this particular video. One, there just seems to be no respect for women, mocking them and their conversations about avocado toast, and not being truly able to empathize. I guess, I wouldn't know what it's like to not have my my little Super Saiyan ascend. You catch my drift. I wouldn't know what that's like, but I why can't you just say you're gay, man? Why is that so offensive for you to, like, you'd rather be with a trans woman and convince everyone else that this person is a woman, and it doesn't seem like you like women at all, because you're like insulting women as you're trying to uplift someone who just aesthetically has some parts altered or whatever, and who looks artificial. And I mean, did that look attractive to anyone? Like, I don't know, it just looks so, I'm here to be objectified. Like, I don't, I'm not I mean, obviously it doesn't look like a man. It doesn't look like a um off something looks off about it, if you ask me, but if you're a dude, does someone like that attract you? Like, I guess if you're just into basically wanting to do the deed and you're kind of a perv, then maybe something like that catches your attention. But I would never, me personally, I would never be attracted to someone who is just so kind of undignified, I suppose. Like, I think people, I guess I'll just speak for myself here. Like, I'm attracted to more than just physical bodies or whatever. Like, you can see a nice guy with, the muscles and all that stuff and think it's great, and be like, oh, that looks nice. Or there's particular guys who are really, really cute. I could list a couple, but I won't. But And you can say, well, I guess I'll give an example. Like Chris Hemsworth is really cute, right? And but there was a movie he did, Rush, and when he was playing a race car driver, and I watched that film, and his character was so unattractive, particularly how he treated his ex-wife, and just all women in general. But I'm just like, this is disgusting. And this person who's, you see him as Thor and out, on a, surfing and all this other stuff, is a attractive man. He's still physically attractive, but he was hideous to me. It was disgusting to me because of how he treated women. So, I was like, this is the image I want at the end of the night with, with Chris Hemsworth. So I popped in Thor so I could feel a little bit better. So I think it's beyond that, but I'll just speak for myself there. I think a lot of people would agree there's so much more to it. I think when you're people who are, can only look at the physical, and can only look at how you're going to objectify or just lust after someone, you're in a real problem. And so if you just see women as objects that you can, I don't know, build like a build a bear or something, and they're true, because he seems to think there's a distinction between men and women, and he's knocking women as some kind of negative. And what he really wants is a man who has a female body ish. So you're still acknowledging that there's a difference, but it's definitely gay. It's definitely gay. And if you are a male, and you are into males, that's gay. That your sexual orientation, that has to do with your sex. And regardless of how you identify or what you do, are just, is that still a sex thing? So it doesn't really make sense, bro. And you're trying to say that this person is better than a woman. That's the pitch. That's the pitch. So anyway, as Sav said, who's he trying to convince, us or him? I'm curious about your comments, so just give me a second. uh yeah, my sister said it looked like he was a pimp trying to advertise a Vegas show or something. That's what it did look like. And other people were like, I didn't need to see the trans woman to knew he was gay. But um, someone said, did he kiss her? Did he hug her? Or are they just a couple? It seemed fake. Yeah, he didn't kiss the person in the video at all. Didn't kiss him. So you know, weird stuff. So Saf said, who's he trying to convince? Us or himself? And what did Kelly say? Kelly said, you are just mad because she's prettier than you. Or well said, are you just mad because she's prettier than you? That's what Kelly here said. So a lot of people said this is not the serve that you thought it was. That ratio, noted that person is covered in makeup. Pathetic. Um, so yeah, sometimes I'll get comments like that. Like I think I did a video about Dylan Mulvaney, and someone was like, Dylan looks more like a woman than you do, which I whatever is with your eyes are your eyes, I guess. But um and I just said, regardless of whatever you think or whatever you say, it's not going to make me less of a woman or him more of a woman. It is what it is, regardless of if you think I'm attractive or not, and whether you think I look feminine or not. um doesn't matter. Them's are still the facts, and I give it to people who are put themselves out to be on the internet, especially with people who can sling insults like that. To me, you know, um well, I've said this a few times, like I'm going to die a virgin, like and be like Apostle Paul and be like, I'm serving the Lord and I can stay single forever, or I'm gonna be with one person. So it doesn't really matter to me what the world at large thinks of me. But I do think I'm a pretty girl, and I can stand to lose some weight, but who, most of us, that's the case. But if you don't agree, that's your prerogative. But man, people do try to throw that insult around at different people. And I do see it with I guess obviously trans allies, but it's not always a trans woman who says it. Sometimes it's just like young girls who are like allies and other stuff like that. So um why why the need to put women down like that? Because you're trying to make the appeal that it's more than identity, but then you go after aesthetics because you know that those things relate and they matter, and you're hoping that it matters. You're hoping that it really gets at people. Now, I thought about doing a defense thing of Savvy. I was like waiting to see Savvy respond in some kind of way. I was waiting for it. I was excited for it. I was waiting for it. And I was like, if Savvy doesn't do something, maybe I'll do something. And again, Savvy doesn't need anyone to like come to her rescue or whatever. She doesn't need that, but she's a good person. She's good people's. And so many people have said so many like crazy things to Savvy. Like she's heard every single probably insult in the book. She has over a million followers on TikTok. And she's a bit spicier on Twitter because a lot of things get banned on TikTok, but still she speaks her mind. So she did reply to Kelly, and it's a spicy meatball. If you've seen the mask. Mad, I can walk out of the house exactly as I am with no makeup and in a baggy t-shirt, and people will still recognize me as a woman. I don't have to take medication to grow breasts. These are homegrown since 1993. Fun fact, if the face doesn't give it away, the breast augmentation will, because it looks unnatural on male chests. You have to put in a lot of work and pay a lot of money just to fool people from the neck up. From my top to my bottom, I am effortlessly woman and it's free. Mad for what? I don't want to be the kind of woman that is just pretty enough to attract a man who can't admit he's in the closet. I don't want to be the kind of pretty that only looks good in a costume. I don't want to be the kind of pretty that only feels pretty when I'm chopped up, screwed my body beyond recognition and function. Women are not jealous of trans women. No one wants to put in all that work just to have people look at their shoulders and hands and say, that's a man. I was like, that was a bomb. That was a bomb. And such a great response there, and just totally right. Like, that dude was in the closet. Why are you getting so mad about that person being in the closet? They're gay. But Kelly's just like, no, trans women are women. Trans women are a type of woman. That's what Kelly keeps saying over and over and over again. Kelly can keep saying it, but it's still not going to be true. It's still never going to be true. So then um update here. uh she blocked Kelly here blocked Sav. Um and so that's the screenshot for like, you mad just because she's prettier than you. And that's what Kelly had wrote that prompted that response. And Sav said, what a coward. Kelly blocked me. You can dish it, but you can't take it. I told you to watch it before you got your feelings hurt. And there's a tweet in the question for context, she said. So definitely block Sav. And I did see Kelly on a TikTok live. I was so tempted to jump in, but I there's probably a lot of people in it. It takes a while. I just want to be like, why did you block Savvy, bro? um Sav did give a warning. Sav did give a warning. Um but it was great. It was great. Glad that somebody told Kelly about themselves. But that is the route they try to go. and then the comments like, I'm so glad, like it gives me pleasure that you can't do anything and I'm gonna go in your bathroom. And they say that to be petty, but I'm like, that makes people really uncomfortable to see like a male i- um so desperate for access into women's spaces. It disturbs people. And you could say, well, Kelly really looks like a woman or whatever. So Kelly should be able to. If Kelly can pass, to be honest, I don't know much you can do. I don't want people to like check their IDs before they go into the bathroom or anything like that. And before, what was it, Charlotte? Was it Charlotte that did the ordinance that basically popped all this off where people started doing like laws about bathrooms and other that made it like a national conversation? And and I think most people who could pass would just go in and go out, and that was kind of the end all be of it. But my thing, which I've brought this up before, we know that Kelly's a dude though. Because Kelly has a platform where Kelly talks about being a trans woman. So if you want to live your life as a woman, why not just try to do that? Um, you know, but that's not what they're doing. But Kelly does do things for clicks, and I'm sure because I wonder how much Kelly has made, because on Twitter you do get paid for like your engagements and stuff. And with all the stuff that Kelly posts, which are a lot of just like triggering clickbait, um I'm sure Kelly gets a decent amount. And Kelly did a post about having a house or whatever, getting a house, and says basically the online people made it happen. And maybe that's true. Kelly has a decent following on Twitter. I'm trying to get back to Kelly's page so you guys can see um the photo that Kelly has up close, and so you can kind of be the judge. Um let me just search. But if you want to live your life as a woman and see if you can pass, you could try to do that. But if you want to live your life as a activist saying, I don't care what you want, I don't care or respect your views as a woman and what makes you comfortable, I'm going to come into your bathroom. That makes people uncomfortable. And sometimes when I see trans activists, they'll be like, oh no, we deserve to go in your bathroom. And I look at their profiles, I'm like, oh, so you're like porn stars? I'm like, okay. You're selling yourself online, and I don't, even if you've done some things, and I don't know what you look like in real life beyond like all the makeup that you put on your face, because maybe you still look masculine, or at least unnatural at the very least. And um and and not everybody's gonna know your profession, but it's still weird to me, like there's this man who's like a into like they're an adult entertainer and they want access to women's spaces. I think that makes people uncomfortable. Like there's one person on TikTok, oh gosh, Naomi. Maybe you see Naomi on Twitter, because Naomi has like a child and wants to like feed it its tit juice, whatever the heck is coming out of that fake booby. And Naomi um is for like trans women being in women's prisons, in women's spaces, in the bathrooms, and all that stuff. And Naomi also has an OnlyFans, and has dressed up like a cow and seems to have some kind of milking fetish and stuff. I'm like, these are the people who want access to your bathrooms. It's kind of weird, and I'm not saying all trans people are like that, but I'm saying that some of these people are very vocal about it. I think most people who are trans, and it's not like it's a part of their lives, it's not their identity, it's not their whole thing, it's not their it's just a part. It's just, they have dysphoria. This is what they have done to make themselves feel part of the world, to feel better or whatever. But it's not who they are. It's not that big of a deal. It's just a piece of their lives, not the whole of it. and they'll just go in and out and they don't want to be bothered, and they haven't made a living off of, like, me at them as an activist, with this particular topic. But um so just want to put that out there. Here's the actual um this is Kelly's profile pic right here. So Kelly has a lot of things to say about turfs. Me, so it's a little bit bigger. I don't know how big you guys can see that on there, but yep, that's Kelly. So you see Kelly, you know who Kelly is. Anyway, great post from Sav. I think I want to show you guys another thing before I move on that Sav said that was so good on TikTok. And this was a response to someone talking about periods, I think, and then Sav did a video about it. And then people were like, "Oh, you're black, so how can you say stuff like that?" And she had such a good response, and I've had similar responses. Um, but this was just so perfect. But people do throw that at you, like, you're a black person, so how dare you not relate to that struggle? How dare you want to oppress people, etc. And this is just such a good response to it. And she did put this on Twitter, but she also put it on her Facebook. I hope she also puts it on her YouTube channel. But she reviews movies a lot on her YouTube, so I think maybe that's like really the focus of that particular channel. So maybe she won't put more. I don't know if she will or she won't, but you can go find this on her Twitter page for all of you who don't have a TikTok. So this was, again, a really, really great response from Savvy here.
First and foremost, that word oppression, y'all have got to stop overusing it before it loses all meaning like everything else. A set of facts or an opinion might hurt your feelings, but it's not oppression. Women are allowed to talk about their bodies and have their own conversations. Not everything is inclusive. Oppression would be trying to force guilt or shame women into being silent, not allowing women to have their own spaces, have their own conversations, or have their own language. But I digress. That's not what this is about. If you've been with me a while, you already know this. If you're brand new, let me make this somewhat clear. I've been called every name in the book. I don't get bothered. You name it, I've heard it. It's never original. There's nothing new under the sun. Bothers me not at all. Trying to attack my identity via my skin color doesn't work with me. Now, there are people who see their skin color as being central to their identity. I don't. I love my brown skin. I love the history and ancestry attached to my brown skin, but this isn't who I am. I wake up black, I go about my day black, and I will die black. There's nothing you can say or do that will ever change that. But this seems to be a common thing in situations such as these where black women speak up, trying to attack black women via their skin color, because for whatever reason, some of y'all seem to think you're entitled to a black woman's voice. Y'all are so quick to push black women to the front line to defend you, but will sit on us, step on us, degrade us when we dare to speak for ourselves. Black women, we're not a hive, we're not a collective. While we do have things in common and we do share similar experiences, we are individuals and deserve to be treated as such. Black women are not your emotional support animals. You can't just take us, train us, slap a certificate on us, and then claim us as if we belong to you. The LGBTs of old can tell you comparing our history to your present does not work. We don't owe you anything. You're not entitled to our quote unquote allyship. Using our skin color to try to guilt us into submission, it's manipulative, it's gross. I don't know who you thought you were talking to, but I'm not weak-minded enough to fall for something like this. Find somebody else.
Boom. So just amazing content. If you don't follow Savvy, she's great. She's on Twitter, she's on YouTube, she's on TikTok. She has a Substack as well, where she shares a lot of her other feelings and stuff. So go find her content. My sister made a good point about the bathroom thing. She said enjoying the fear and discomfort, that's the behavior of stalkers and predators. Yeah. I wonder how many people just like I mean I've heard of women like having internalized misogyny that kind of led them to ultimately wanting to be a trans man. And I I wonder how many guys just kind of couldn't kind of feel like they could compete on that level, so they thought it might be safe to be as a woman. And and still like that high of I'm going to be superior here to this woman in that kind of particular way, whether it's the passive aggressive stuff or whether it's like the sports stuff with like Leah Thomas, like William Thomas could not compete against all these other males, or at least not top tier stuff, and then decided to transition, and all of a sudden, number one. And you can say, well, no, Thomas really just wanted to swim. I'm like, okay. And Thomas could take hormones and still swim with dudes. Didn't need to go on the female team and traumatize all the girls in the locker room with his dingleberries. Like, that wasn't necessary. And why is Thomas mad that they won't let him swim in the Olympics or whatever? If, could even qualify. Well, I guess probably could in the women's area. So, you can still do it. You can just do it with them dudes. And if you can't compete, well, you can't have it all. You can't have it all. So if your life as being a trans person supersedes like other things that you want to do in life, like, people need to be honest before they begin like transitions and stuff. Someone needs to sit them down and be honest. Like, no one else is obligated to see you in this way just because you make some adjustments to yourself. Like, if you like can do enough surgery or whatever, like, maybe you can come off pretty, you can come off passable, and people will be none the wiser. If people find out that you're not actually a woman or a man or whatever, people can, will treat you however they want to treat you. They don't have an obligation to see you the way that you are in your mind. There's no obligation there. So if they don't want you in the bathroom or the locker room, or or they won't call you a mother, or that's something that you have to deal with. So just know that option for them is always on the table, and you can either live with your dysphoria, being something that you struggle with, but maybe that you can learn to cope with, or you can go ahead and do the surgery and I guess still have your dysphoria, but maybe have it lessened, or maybe it will help, or maybe it won't help. But that but maybe it won't get any better because people don't have an obligation to treat you like the desired gender that you want. Someone needs to be honest with people before they go through all these steps, but they instead they like emotionally blackmail people and say, well, you have to affirm or they're going to unalive themselves. And that's so problematic. And I don't love that word, but I hate how it's just like so part of the lexicon. We know what it means, so I guess we know to say it and use it. Anyway, I didn't mean for that whole segment to be quite that long. And I didn't plan to play the other clip, but we'll move on. But as I'm looking for my next thing, I want the article I want to go through. I will just say, back to the thing with Savvy saying that using the history of Black people to try to affirm the experience of like the transgender movement and stuff. It doesn't exactly work, but people do try it, and I think there has been some kind of a little bit of success to it. But it's definitely a risk, and it definitely didn't work with her. Definitely doesn't work with me, and a lot of people. Like, it's not the same thing, and when people bring it up, try to make some kind of comparison. Oh, I like testing people and like, how is it the same? Why do you think it's the same? Why do you think it's the same? And people don't have good answers. People don't have good answers at all. Anyway, this was like breaking news like last night. The White House confirms that Iran has released from prison 5 Americans and has placed them on house arrest. In exchange, Tehran will gain access to $6 billion in oil revenue for humanitarian purposes. Which would probably be terrorism, but whatever. What some onlookers describe as prime hostage diplomacy. So that is weird. Or not weird, it's just bad, not wise. 6 billion. So they didn't even release them. They put them on house arrest. So they're not even back over here. And it's $6 billion. $6 billion for 5 Americans who are unjustly detained and has placed and they're placed on house arrest. They said this is from the White House, I think. Encouraging step. While this is an encouraging step, these U.S. citizens um, who have at this time they kept some of their they listed some of the names and then kept some of them private should have never been detained in the first place. We will continue to monitor their condition as closely as possible. Of course, we will not rest until they are all back home in the United States. Until that time, negotiations for their eventual release remain ongoing and are delicate. We will therefore have little in the way of details to provide about the state of their house arrest or about our efforts to secure their freedom. $6 billion, and you couldn't even get him home. You couldn't even get him home for $6 billion. In oil revenue. By the way, gas is like it's about to breach like $4 again where I am at. Like the gas station, like not too far from me, is like $3.99. So there's some that are like at $3.89. But it's basically getting over that curve again where we're at $4 again. I don't know where gas is, where all you guys are at. You can type it in the chat, but it's getting pretty high. But gosh, this incentivizes people to kidnap Americans if they're handing out billions of dollars to not even get them back home. And we had the Brittany Griner situation where she was traded for the Merchant of Death, which wasn't a good trade either. Not that I'm not glad to have her home, or I'm sure that she's glad to be home, but that's not a good deal. Holy cow. But $6 billion, and you can say, wasn't their lives worth $6 billion? They're not even here. They're still negotiating. This is a terrible deal. This is a terrible deal. Holy cow. So we live in a clown world. Gosh, I guess we'll stay up to date as how that advances, but that's wackadoodle, man. Just absolutely wackadoodle. Last thing I want to mention is that Hunter Biden, there was a special counsel now appointed. However, the special counsel is Weiss or Weiss or whatever his name is, who's already involved in the investigation. So I question, is there going to be some kind of different result? And what exactly is the purpose here? Because if this man who was over it before, was supposed to be over it, folded, and they didn't explore the crimes in the way that they should have, like with interviewing the family and offering more serious crimes up for the prosecution, and they like the gun charge and other things, and they try to do an immunity deal to get that off, and other crimes that he obviously violated. If you're just promoting the guy who let all that happen and saying, well we did what the whistleblowers asked for. The whistleblower said we needed a special counsel, so now we have a special counsel led by the dude who folded in the first place. That's crazy. That's obviously a political move and not for any sort of justice. But if you want justice, you're looking at the wrong town and the wrong administration, because that's precisely not what they care about, not what they're looking for in the least. So man, oh man, if anyone's, I hate to be like a cynic about all this stuff, but if anyone is really hoping for some kind of like justice at the end for what involving with Hunter Biden or Joe Biden, like I don't think anyone's going to jail, at least not a Democrat. A Democrat, especially not Hunter, especially not Joe. And even if they did, and what's crazy is they could have been like, oh yeah, Hunter Biden did all these things, especially the gun charge. They could have been like, well, he did all these things and Joe Biden pardoned him, because that's like, you're president, you have pardon power. you wouldn't want your son to go to jail, right? Everyone understands that. And like that's his power as president. People be like, oh, no justice, but he's like, so there's that. But trying to squeeze in immunity within his deal, which they're shopping around like different venues and stuff because I guess they didn't like what the judge did, so they're probably trying to find another judge who will let that go through. So so you have this two-tier justice thing. Like you can see how lax they are with Hunter and Joe and the stuff that he's doing. Like the media is so brain dead. And I don't even want to say brain dead because it's obvious what they're doing, that they're obviously treating Joe different than they would Trump, that they're treating Hunter different than they would like Don Jr. It's so obvious. And they're like, well, it's really skeezy what Joe Biden is doing, that all of his family is basically benefiting from the Chinese and Ukrainians and the Russians, and they have all this money, and someone sent a direct payment for the exact amount that Hunter Biden would need for a car, and just all this stuff. But they're like, but it's not criminal because you guys haven't found the pay stub or something with Joe Biden's name on it. I like that's appears to be the standard that they're looking for. Like you have to literally find like a check, or wire transfer that says to Joseph Biden. And Hunter Biden already said that he pays for his dad's bills. He said that to a text from his daughter that's not supposed to be like public information. So there's no reason to believe that it's not true. So you know that all these people within the Biden family getting paid, even if you never find a check directly to Joe Biden, you know that he's benefited from all this stuff. Even if he just did it for his kids, isn't the peddling the influence and stuff benefit enough? But we know that they've shared accounts and other things, and we know from Hunter's own confession that he paid for his dad's stuff. So Jake Tapper being like, it's sleazy, but come on, guys. Come on. But the Republicans are gearing up they want to subpoena Hunter, they want to subpoena Joe, which, the people might just not obey. And it, just want to let you know, the best sort of justice there is this man just not being reelected. I just wouldn't hold my breath about something happening. I mentioned this the other day. I do still think that they were willing to impeach Trump over the stuff that they had for him. This stuff they got way more credibility to impeach Biden than they did to impeach Trump. So I don't know if the House will do that. There's not the numbers to, actually get him out of office. And I don't want Kamala Harris to be president, to be frank, but it's warranted. It certainly is warranted. But I hope that he will be defeated in 2024. And but if things are really, really bad for Joe, and they think it's politically bad enough for Joe, they'll make him step aside. I think there's still time for Democrats to have some kind of alternative. Now, all their alternatives are going to be pretty bad anyway. But I would at least like to see something in this man's life where he was like, oh crap, the consequences of my actions have led to this result, because he does things thinking that he can get away with them. And again, he's in the White House, so he feels probably very validated within that thought process. And Hillary Clinton, she did a lot of shady stuff with her emails and servers and etc. There's other shady stuff that she's just done throughout life. And I've talked about this before. There was a case that she took when she was a lawyer. She wasn't a public defender, so she didn't have to take the case, but there's a little girl who was just so violently sexually assaulted that she could, I guess, never carry children and stuff again. And she took the case of the person who sexually assaulted her. Again, she wasn't the public defender, but they wanted a woman to do it because it just, I guess, looks better to have a woman tear down a little girl than a man do it. And you can say, well, people need lawyers. That's true. But there was I know people talked about how the evidence, the DNA stuff was like mishandled, and there's a bunch of different things about the case that sound, kind of sketchy. But there was an interview with Hillary Clinton talking about the case, and she said she had her client do a polygraph, a lie detector test and stuff, and she said, and he passed, and so she was laughing, and she's like, that destroyed my faith in lie detector tests. So she knew he did it. And Snopes and other people, like, she didn't laugh because the little girl was sexually assaulted. It's like she laughed because she knew her client actually did the crime and got off on it. And she knew that he passed a lie detector test. So anyway, the night of the second debate, Trump had two Bill Clinton accusers there for like a press conference, and then the other person who was there was that little girl all grown up. So after Hillary Clinton lost the election 2016, that woman tweeted out like, I never thought that this would happen. She was like, thank you everyone, because that was all the justice in the world for her. That was the only bit of it that she could get, was at least to never see that woman in the White House. So that was all. So I think the only justice we can get, at least for Biden, is him not being reelected. And I pray to God that he won't get that other term. I pray to God that's what happened. He's denied that by the people. But he should be impeached. But the Democrats won't do that, and they have the numbers. They have the numbers. So some people are suspecting that the special counsel with the Hunter Biden thing is to prolong stuff, like keep it open like forever, basically, for as long as they at least need it to be open, and to sidetrack Republicans and all kinds of different stuff. But it's not a good, if they were going to do a real special counsel, it shouldn't have been someone who basically already let the DOJ run all over them. And Garland is it's amazing that Garland was almost a Supreme Court justice, if not for Republicans standing up and saying no and denying that. And it was a gamble, because who knew that Trump was going to win and then actually appoint someone like Kavanaugh, I mean, not Kavanaugh, Gorsuch. So but now he's an AG, and he's super biased, and it's clear. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the show today. A lot of at least interesting tea to me. Please go to blacktnews.com, check out different content on my website, different articles, different videos, and so on. You guys can check out different merch that's available at the store as well, like the You Are Not That Special. We got that one. We got the Constitution is a Glorious Liberty document with Frederick Douglass on there. We got Roe and Casey aborted and stuff. I saw a pretty interesting conversation about Ohio and other talking points, because Republicans keep saying things like Democrats want abortions up until the time of birth, and there's people who are like, the reason why that's not an effective sort of talking point is because people say no one would do that it's so heinous to people. They're like, that can't possibly be true. Now it is. It is true. And we've talked about that earlier in the week and many times. So I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole today, but there's plenty of evidence, I promise you, for it being true and basically the policy position. But people, even if they say that Democrats are actually for it, they're like, well, no women would actually do that. Well, in the UK, there was a woman who aborted at like between 32 and 36 weeks, something really crazy like that. Pretty recently, there was the story about the 29-week baby that was born in Nebraska. There was a woman in Nevada who was at a hospital, and I think it was Nevada, threw her baby. She went to a hospital, and she went in the bathroom, and she like locked the door, and she gave birth to her baby, and she just threw it in the garbage. She threw it in the garbage, and it suffocated, and the baby's dead. And so I know that they were gonna think about charging her, but they let her out. She was at the prom or whatever with her boyfriend. Um, let me see. But I'm sorry, not Nevada. I'm sorry, that is not right. New Mexico. Um, and New Mexico has, I think, really um wide abortion laws. So I think someone said, like, I saw a post that said if she had just gone to an abortion clinic, she could have killed the baby, but because she did it in the hospital, it was illegal. But I think maybe Live Action did it. So talked about it. And just wild. Just wild. So I know people don't want to believe it because it is sounds so horrific. And then people are like, well, people do it, it's just for medical reasons. And that's not true either. So you know, and the thread said, someone said in the thread, like, it was really effective for Trump back in 2016, when he describe, or people think it's effective because it worked for Trump when he was on the campaign trail with Hillary Clinton, and they were talking about partial birth abortions, and she defended it on stage, and he described it as being a baby being brutally ripped apart. And so I think pro-lifers are just going to have to look at the weeks and look at the numbers. In Ohio, I don't, they've had like 6 weeks for a minute, right? So um you're gonna have to make comparisons to other states, like like uh we talked about how there was somebody who's trying to fact check Ron DeSantis on NBC News and was like, only 1.3% of abortions take place after like 21 weeks or something. Oh, okay. 1.3% of like 960,000 a year is a lot. That's a lot. That's, at least 12,000 babies. Go Google how many unarmed black people are killed by police every year. In what we are willing to like burn down the country for in 2020. You know? Go look at gun deaths from minors, and not one of those surveys where it's like they make it up to like 21 or something, and most of it is like unaliving yourself, or even I guess you could maybe go ahead and include gang violence and stuff, um but they want to do it older so they can put in gang violence and stuff. See what we're outraged about, and then look at those numbers, and start to just kind of sit on your life and figure out stuff, and be like, man, that is actually a big number of people killed every year at that particular stage. So if you're in Ohio and other places and you got to fight on your life, you got to strategize. um you got to think a little bit differently on these things to make a good argument, because I can tell you from experience, people do not believe that people would do that late, that they don't believe that women would do it unless it's for like to save their life, and that's not true. Like, that doesn't even make sense. It takes days to do those procedures. So if you're having some kind of medical emergency, you would induce the labor, not inject it with a poison to kill the baby, and then you have to carry it around for a few days, and then when your cervix is ready, that you break it into pieces and remove the corpse, and then you got to make sure that you got all the pieces together, so you kind of reassemble and stuff, and like a scrape out. And I'm sorry for graphic, but that being graphic, that's what it is. So we got to be honest about this stuff, and paint the picture and put the numbers in perspective, or what happened in Michigan will happen in other places. So please think about how to talk about these things more persuasively. Because again, people just don't believe that people are going to go to the 39th week and go get an abort. Like, you got to phrase it a bit differently. I see I have a super chat, so I just want to thank you, RC. You do speak the truth. Thank you very much. Appreciate that for the support. Um uh Someone said it's unimaginable how someone who is obviously showing at 34 weeks and for that while yet still decides having an abortion. That is pretty wild. some people, it is possible for people to not really know that they're pregnant that late, and some people, maybe they want it earlier and they can't afford it or whatever. So people will excuse it, that go that route, like, well, if the only we could have helped them have an abortion earlier, which sounds crazy to me, because I'm like, okay, just think about this though, because it's you're saying it's egregious for them to do it that late, and you're like, if only they could have killed this same person earlier, then we wouldn't feel so bad about it. Like, it's the same person. It's the same person. Like, if you're okay with 15 weeks, why are you not okay with 15 weeks in one day? Or 16 weeks in one day or whatever? Why? It doesn't make any sense to me, but I don't want to go down a huge rabbit hole with this topic because I could be talking about it for a while. Um, Also, I just do my closing. If you guys like what I do, you can also support. I thank you for the super chat. You can also go to the website on blacktnews.com/donate and give that way. It costs to stream, it costs to run my website and all this stuff. So if you can support, thank you very much. It's very, very much appreciated. Um, Also, check out different books that I have written as well. My book, of course, God is Blatantly Against Abortion, that you guys can check out. It does talk about theology, obviously, but it also talks about rights and science, and why there's particular things that I believe, yes, as a Christian, but makes sense in a secular world too. Um, Dennis Prager likes to say that he doesn't like to waste time arguing with people and trying to convince them that God is real. He likes to convince them of the need of God. So at least I take it to be like, so there's particular ethics that we share that makes sense in a practical world. Like, someone cannot be a Christian or have any sort of beliefs, but still be like, I'm really glad that I live in a Judeo-Christian society. And there's a lot of atheists who are really like anti-God or ex-evangelicals that really benefit from being in our society, and our morals and our views and our, things about our legal system and other stuff that are influenced by Judeo-Christian values. So you can check out that book. And also, I do have fiction books as well. Thank you to the parents who checked out Super Kid for their kids. Someone said that I think 10-year-old read it in like 4 hours. Someone said that their 12-year-old it made them cry. So very, very flattering. I've been trying to get my nephew to read it. It is a bit challenging for him. That's what his mom said. But he was asking for some different, what word is this, what word is that, and stuff. But he got through the, a little bit of it, and he said, I'm really gonna like this book. So glad that I'm like, all these other kids like it, Daddy, I know you would. So anyway, that's available. If you go to blacktnews.com and hit the merchandise page, there's a banner at the top that'll take you to my book website, but I'll just flash it on screen really quick. So that's my book website if you want to learn more about my books and stuff. But I have not just kids books, I have historical fiction fantasy books that I have as well. The Color of God's Eyes, Song on the Devil's Lips is a sequel. I also have books about This is the Dark Mermaid. So I got books about mermaids and vampires and werewolves, which I write whatever the heck I want to write. So that stuff is available. I have a very vast imagination. So if you need something to do this weekend and you like to read, I encourage you to check me out. Again, you can find everything at blacktnews.com if you go there. But if you search my name on Amazon, you'll find my stuff. And thank you very much. I hope you guys enjoyed the live, enjoyed the week, and I will see you on Monday. I guess before I go, I'm thinking about some other kind of shows that I like to have during the weekend and stuff. And I think I'll bring back like my TikTok React thing when I invite other TikTokers on and talk about different TikTok videos, but also doing some stuff, some more pop culture stuff, and bring on some people. Like one time, Tina's in the chat. I think she's still here, but one time she was on, I was like, why don't you paint, and she was like live painting while we had a conversation. So I think I'd like to be able to highlight other artists as well while we talk about that stuff, and have like different cams where they're drawing stuff, and it, you could go like look at their stuff and maybe pick it up if you're interested or whatever. But just I think it's good to help promote other people and to help build a parallel economy and all that stuff. So I think it'd be cool to chat about those kind of topics, and then, showcase people, not just complain about culture, but also participate in the culture. So that's something I'm thinking about. So uh hope you guys are interested anyway. Because I before I talked a lot about the news every day, and I do like talk about pop culture stuff, but I used to like exclusively talk about pop culture stuff with my sisters back in the day. So unfortunately, I don't love as many things as I used to back then, because I think so many writers have ruined so many things that I love, like in, Marvel stuff, Disney stuff, Star Wars stuff, but there's still subjects and things to talk about. So should be a good, expansion. So thank you guys, and I'll see you on Monday for real closing this time. God bless you.